I know that you're not going to like hearing this, and that is exactly why I'm going to stand here and sit here actually and tell you the same thing right now, which is that Bitcoin is in an incredibly bullish pattern right now on this chart, and you must pay attention to it. So I'm going to show it to you in just a second. It's resulted in major pumps to the upside. I've already been talking about it these past few days and weeks, but I'm going to talk a lot more about it in this YouTube video and give you a little bit more short-term analysis on what's going on, because Bitcoin ended up dipping right down below that $40,000 range, and we are suffering the brunt of that drop at the moment. We're pretty much at the lows, and I think that obviously, yeah, a lot of people are quite scared and worried about the market. So no worries, 𝗲𝗏𝗡𝗏s is here to break all this down for you, sprinkle a little bit of realism into the market. And if you're excited for this one, do me a favor and smash up the likes as we get straight into this live stream. This video. Thank you all for 120k subscribers, by the way. Look at this, by the way, just before we get onto this, altcoins still getting smashed. Look at Ethereum against Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Cardano against Bitcoin, actually holding up relatively well, but still falling below its critical areas of support. Solana, for example, one of the other coins I was looking at, dropped below its critical level, which I was outlining just yesterday. So a lot of very important things happening in this market. But let's just bring it back to Bitcoin for a second with the short-term analysis before I tell you about why we could have potentially even bottomed out in this market, at least temporarily. Stick with me. I'm not making conclusions yet. I'm just going to lay out the facts and let you make your own decisions. So here's the thing, is that right now, since Bitcoin dropped down, it's entered a little bit of a falling wedge pattern that looks something a little bit like this. Now it's difficult to draw it. I could draw it something a little bit more like this or like this, to wicks or candles or whatever the deal may be. But I think the overall point is that Bitcoin has kind of slowly been trending downwards since it ended up falling down in this range. It's actually pretty clear if we zoom in onto the 15-minute time frame right here, for example. And so to me, this is a pretty nice sign. Now, the reason that I'm saying this is a nice sign is that generally when the market is dropping, we don't trend downwards. This is actually generally a reversal sign, and I've already shown you guys why many times if you're subscribed to this channel. But just to break it down for you once more, if you're new, the key reason that this is generally a pretty good sign is that the market ends up dipping down pretty quickly. But if we start to see that the market is slowing down with that dip, that is actually a show of the market losing momentum. Whereas previously the market was moving down very quickly, now it's not moving down very quickly. That potentially indicates that the selling pressure is getting weaker, and naturally if the selling pressure is getting weaker, that means we have a supply demand issue where previously demand was much higher than demand was much lower than supply up here. Now that's kind of leveling out, and as it levels out, we see that the momentum shifts in the market. We're not dropping as quickly, and then eventually demand actually manages to rise above, and that's where we get the big price explosions to the upside, potentially seeing reversal patterns. So that's what we're in right now, I think, where Bitcoin is very aggressively being sold off and now a lot less aggressively. This pattern, if you're looking for the name, is generally called a falling wedge or a descending channel. And the thing is that if this ends up breaking to the downside, it's usually very explosive, because there's two key interpretations here and they're massively conflicting. Now, in conventional markets, what I just said is usually true, right? We're going to enter a pattern like this and end up breaking to the downside. To the upside. For crypto, what happens a lot of the time when the trend is really strong is that we sell off quickly in this case, and we just continue selling off slowly because there's so much selling pressure in the market, and then we really catapult lower. This is what I'm seeing right here, is either we catapult lower like this, or we have a break to the upside and then we move lower. These are the only two scenarios that I see in the market right now, and the primary reason for that, and in the short term, this is very different to the long term and mid term, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. The reason that I'm saying this is that the $40,000 area of resistance that Bitcoin has, it was an absolutely critical area in the market. You were hearing me talking about this a lot on my videos and live streams, so again, just check that you are subscribed and you got the bell ticked in case you missed that stuff, because this level has triggered a lot of very serious reversals in the trend. And so naturally, I would expect that if we hit this level, it is going to act as resistance. I do think that actually we're more likely to break out of this level to the upside, primarily because of all of the selling pressure that came in. Now, granted, all the selling pressure did come in with a huge boost in volume right here. If you look at the volume, it literally increased along with the dub. But one of the key reasons that I'm not actually too worried about it is I want to show you what happened with Bitcoin sell-off very recently just over here. A lot of people aren't going to be able to visualize this stuff, and don't worry about it. I can't expect you to if you haven't been in these markets for years, literally, because when you see this happening enough times, you can start to paint a very big picture scope of what might be happening. But really, what I think Bitcoin could be in at the moment is a pattern that's a lot more like this, and this is just generally how I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm just saying, look, be aware of these possibilities, because most people won't be. Where Bitcoin looks like it's on the brink of a massive disaster, but actually it does something a lot more boring than that. It's very normal. That's how markets work. I mean, it's the same thing as this massive dump right here. Everyone thinks that Bitcoin's just gonna reverse up and go all the way to 60k, or get rejected and fall all the way down, but in reality we just slowly move and then range and then move, right? I mean, it's just, this is how markets move. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's not the cocaine fueled fury that you're expecting. It's generally a lot more boring than that, and I want to show it to you with this chart right here. If you take a look at what Bitcoin did previously, highlighting the very same thing, all I've done essentially here is drawn a little bit of a fractal, showing you what happened here, just painting these candles right where we are at the moment, showing us that sure, we could get a little bit of a potential drop, but a lot of that may end up getting recovered, and then obviously Bitcoin potentially rallying back up to, can you see this? Hang on, let me see if I'm covering. Oh, my bad, I am covering this. Bitcoin potentially rallying back up towards, some of these resistance levels on, for example, the 4-hour time frame. We've got the Ichimoku cloud right here. So I want to show this to you as well, where we are looking at quite a bit of resistance, potentially catching up to the trend for Bitcoin right now. Let's take a quick peek at the 1-hour Ichimoku cloud. Again, all of this before I talk about the wider analysis. I just want to cover the short-term analysis for the minute. If Bitcoin ends up trending to the upside right now, this Ichimoku cloud within the next 2 days could offer quite a lot of resistance to Bitcoin. The fact that the resistance doesn't start until the 23rd of January, which is about it's not 2 days ago. It's not 2 days away. It's more like 26 hours away. I think this is a really important thing to keep in mind, is that at the moment there isn't really that kind of resistance. If we end up shooting up right now, Bitcoin has a chance to just massively spike up with a lightsaber candle, and all of this would be a fake out. I don't think that's going to happen though, because if we look at the daily time frame, we have got literally just 4.5 hours, 5 hours left until this candle closes on the daily time frame. So I mean, that's still a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. There's anything can happen in 5 hours in Bitcoin, for Bitcoin, but look, I just don't see us recovering this. Honestly, I don't. And so this would be a confirmed breakout as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if we look at this from the bottom of the range to where we are right now, we're already down by 4.5%, and the standard breakout rules are either 1 or 3% in markets typically, and we've broken below both of them. And so I think that if we do end up testing this range, we can only find resistance really. And on the 4-hour time frame, we can see how that's looking right here, where again, just within the next kind of 5 days, we could be expecting quite a nasty range of resistance right here. And that's before we even look at the momentum indicators like the EMA ribbon, for example, which is already offering resistance at the high $40,000 area, low 41Ks. The 1-hour EMA ribbon even closer to Bitcoin, just showing us that, look, anything we do break into the upside, it's probably going to be met with a lot of resistance up ahead. And to me, that's not surprising. I think a lot of people have really just really felt that stab in the chest right now, and are quite bearish with the market, which is exactly what we need. I mean, I gotta wait for this fear and greed index to update. We're sitting at 19 right now. I'm sure that this is going to be pretty catastrophically low. This is one of the key things I'm waiting for. I just wanted to get sidetracked just a little bit and break this down for you right now. That feeling that you're probably going to wake up with tomorrow, if Bitcoin ends up dumping, where you just feel a pit in your stomach. You feel absolutely bloody shit, and you feel terrible. You feel like you've made the worst decision ever, and it's just all crashing down. That's how people feel at market bottoms. And I just want to remind you guys right now that Bitcoin, compared to its all-time high at about 70k and its current price at about $38,000, is down by nearly 50%. And the normal traders, the mainstream people, the average mothers, fathers, students, and so on, are going to be selling their crypto at these price levels out of panic and fear and uncertainty and doubt. But naturally, the smarter investors and traders are going to be happy to scoop up one of the most desirable assets in the world right now, in my personal opinion, at effectively what is nearly a 50% discount. You know, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not trying to give you hopium or anything like that. I just want us to be reminded of the facts, because I know that a lot of us right now are falling out of line with the facts right now. Our emotions are really starting to cloud things up. I know this because I've been there before, and I you know, the reason I'm not affected by this at all right now is because I've sat through so many of these drops, and I've taken a lot of measures to liquidate Bitcoin before this drop even happened. Of course, you guys know that I even sold a bunch of Bitcoin to buy my house when it was trading at $57,000. So, you know, I've taken a lot of measures to protect myself from something like this. You know, and naturally, every trader is either going to get to where I am in terms of that state of mind, or they're going to quit. You know, it's only one of the two. And so, you know, what I'm aiming to do right here is just remind you guys and level us where, look, I'm not saying we're going to $1 million, and I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to recover tomorrow, although when you see this analysis in just a minute, you might start thinking something like that. But what I am absolutely saying is that there is a lot of facts, straight facts, which you guys knew about yesterday, which you guys knew about last month, and so on. And those facts are still the same. Bitcoin's dropped a little bit, sure. Those facts are still the same, and you must be able to retain that knowledge at this time. You know, everyone's hurting right now. Everyone's very, very upset in the market. Good. That's how change happens in these markets. You got liquidated. Good. Now you're going to learn a lesson. You know, this is how these markets move. This is how these markets wash out weak hands. Naturally, just a very natural product of what we need in these markets to rise up is we need the selling pressure, the supply on this side. We need the selling pressure to drop down to zero. And the only way the selling pressure drops down to zero, there's two key ways. Number one, selling pressure gets exhausted, i.e. all the Bitcoins that want to be sold have been sold. Or number two, we start seeing you know, people deciding that they don't want to sell Bitcoin. It's pretty much the same as the first point, that they don't want to sell Bitcoin anymore because demand is going up really, really high. So while demand is fairly low and supply was up here, we're depleting that supply as time goes on. And this actually starts to lead into my TA right now. So I'm going to switch back to my screen in just a second. We're depleting that supply as time goes on until eventually there's absolutely nothing, and there's still a little bit of baseline demand. And the thing that happens here is that that little bit of baseline demand can really quickly trigger a massive rally to the upside. And let me show you what that might look like on this chart right now. Again, just keeping in mind the facts, right? Everyone's talking about where this market could be dropping, and obviously, look, I mean, there's some good support levels at 37k. Everyone in their nan knows about those support levels right now. $37,000 potentially acting as support, 36, 35, whatever. You can just pick your bloody nose and pick a price level that ends in 000, and you'd probably be right. That's not what I'm interested in right now. I want to talk about, you know, where Bitcoin could be going in a more macro sense, because the fact of the matter is, ladies and gents, you can't get around this. I'm not a moon boy, and I'm not a perma bear. I'm just someone who likes to make money in these markets. Fuck me, right? Like, I like to make money if the market's dropping. I like to make money if the market's rising. Of course, if you want to watch how I plan on doing that inside of these markets, then click on these steps on screen. In a live stream earlier today, I mentioned that I'm sharing details of my next trade with VIPs, and I've done exactly that. And there's another trade that I'm about to share the information on with VIPs as well. I'm just checking final things right there because I'm not completely sure about it. It is a little bit more risky, but I'm showing VIP members everything I'm doing, why I'm doing it, down to the dollar, where I'm entering before I even enter the position, you know, hours, days before, you know, so that VIPs can get a real sense of what my trading looks like in real time. So follow these steps on screen if you want to jump inside. There's a huge discount on it with the Bitcoin drops, to take advantage of it while you can. But the thing is that right now, this market has just dropped down so much. I mean, you guys have heard me saying the same thing over and over and over. We have literally, beyond any debate, we've been dropping down in a straight line, and that is just not natural, right? It's just not natural. You know, Bitcoin was dropping down pretty much in a straight line right here. It was a lot less, it dropped by a lot less in terms of dollars, but it will also happen a lot faster. The thing is that when we got this drop, I just want to, you know, draw your attention to the subsequent rally that Bitcoin had, right? Off this move right here, Bitcoin formed a really strong rally to the upside, and I want to show you what that actually looked like on this charts, right? So we ended up dropping from 59,000 down to 30,000, which was quite a nasty 50% drop. It happened fairly quickly, but then immediately Bitcoin managed to rise up from there to, I can't read that number, hang on, to 43%. I'm sorry, by 43%. So we saw quite an extreme move to the upside. Now, granted, it only lasted 1 or 2 days, and it might be the same case here where we only spike up for 1 or 2 days by quite a large amount. But what I'm saying here, broadly speaking, and this is the more mid-term, long-term trend, so we're pushing the short-term trend to the side. That's one thing, and it's important, but we must always frame this with the perspective of the longer-term trend, in my opinion. What we start to see here now is that we could be looking at quite a big breakout, because we just haven't had one yet, right? I mean, the biggest rally that Bitcoin had in this downtrend was either this one right here where Bitcoin went up by 10%, or this one here where Bitcoin went up by 15%. I'm not counting this move right here because it happened very, very quickly. I mean, was it a matter of hours or minutes? I mean, it was really quick. It was too quick to even consider. For some reason, this is all freezing up right now, so bear with me while I refresh the page here. And bring us back onto the chart. I just want to take a quick look at just how quickly that that dump and then subsequent pump actually happened in this market. We're on the 1 hour time frame, and looking at the big crash here, I mean, it happened in less than an hour, right? So that's way too quick. It's not like the move that we had from 60k down to 30 and then back up to 42. That move actually took throughout 1 day to occur. This one happened within minutes, literally minutes. It happened inside of 1 hour, and so it's just way too extreme, and I can't count it for that reason, right? This is more of a normal, meaningful rally, this one that went up by 14%, and even then it's so small. And so what I really just think is so important to keep in mind right now is that if we look at this market and we analyze exactly where we are with sober eyes, and we don't try and cloud our judgment at all, or at least we resist it as much as we can, we're going to start to get a very, very good idea of exactly what this market is doing right now. And in my opinion, it is forming potentially a very, very large, to get to the point, is forming a very, very large falling wedge pattern, right? Take a look at this. Now this one is quite significant. I've actually just realized I've drawn it incorrectly, so let me go back to my notes to make sure I draw it correctly. I think I may have to be on the logarithmic chart, but actually I'm not even going to draw it. I'm just going to show you the chart that I already had prepared for this, because this is a really, really big deal. Because what we see with this is the same pattern that Bitcoin has actually formed twice before, not once, but twice before in this same market cycle. Now that is really important, ladies and gents. Smash up the likes if you're finding this exciting so far before I get into this, because that is really, really important, because we're forming the same pattern within the same market cycle. Bitcoin has certain characteristics which it loves to repeat within market cycles, and if you can identify them early, you are swimming in cash, right? It's always been that way, and I promise you it is that way right now as well. I mean, I can't be 100% certain about anything, right? But as far as my certainty levels go, this is pretty high up there, and it's for this simple reason. If I show you this chart right here, we are in a very, very typical falling wedge pattern. Just focus your eyes on this one right here for now, where Bitcoin is right at the support level. We've tested the support level a fair few times pretty nicely. We didn't quite hit it, but it doesn't matter because it's a very long-term area. We're right at the bottom, potentially due for a bit of a bounce, and this is where things get really, really exciting, as Bitcoin formed the exact same pattern down here when it was trending from the high 40s down to the very high 20s, and then bam, look at that breakout. That was a 49% breakout inside of 29 days, and actually it rallied even higher. It went up to this high at 53,000, so we can actually measure this a little bit higher. On this occasion, we formed the same damn pattern. We were slowly trending down inside of a falling wedge, and bam, look at that breakout. This is what the market consists of. One of the things that you're going to learn when you jump inside of 𝗲𝗡𝗏's VIP and you finally get your hands on our 𝗲𝗡𝗏's Academy courses, where I teach you everything I know about trading from A to Z. One of the key things you're going to learn is how to segment the chart, so that you can look at the chart and within 1 second understand exactly what's going, not 1 second, maybe 5 seconds, understand exactly what's going on in the chart, and you can really understand what the market structure looks like. This is really, really important, and it's a skill you learn. It's not something you're born with. It's not something that you're just naturally good at if you're slightly autistic or anything like that. I promise you, it's just something that you learn, and you need to learn it correctly. You need to learn it with nuance. I mean, you can just pick up a textbook and you might get it, but if you learn it correctly with a video by somebody who actually explores nuance, because as you can hopefully tell by now, that's what I back my whole channel on, is understanding that things are not black and white. Things are always complicated, and I'm happy to explore and dance and enter into a ballet dance with those complications so that I can understand them fully and then position myself to profit from them. That is what you're going to get Most likely, most people will get it for free inside of VIP, depending on which plan they take. But of course, you can also buy the courses separately if you want to. It's just, it doesn't make sense to, considering you get them for free with VIP, and obviously, you know, the value proposition there is massive. And if you don't know what you're even getting, then just follow these steps on screen to jump inside. I mean, like I said, just before the big dump even happened, 4Flies was the only one here telling everybody to stop because Bitcoin was fooling everybody, just consistently making sure that I'm keeping myself safe at times like this in the market so that my thinking is on point so I can keep on slaying. Again, these are the steps to join. Just first link in the description down below, at 4Flies button at the bottom of any post, and then bam, send message to ask me how to join. By the way, you already know the deal. I'm trading all of this on Bybit, and you can get about $4,000 for free just by using my sign up link. But here we go. The key thing that I wanted to show you about this market structure stuff right here is that we, broadly speaking, when we're trending, let's just identify this, right? Just everything that happens after this line right here, after this line right here, everything that happens, we've only got two real moves in the market, two real separate moves in the market, and they repeat twice each time. So the first one is we're moving up very quickly. The second one is we're moving down, and we're moving down very slowly. And then we repeat the first one right here. Look at this. Repeat the first one right here, and then we repeat the second one right here. Very, very important, right? Let me show you this with numbers. So Bitcoin on this occasion, from a low of about 40.8 to a high of about $66,000, takes 21 days to rise up. For Bitcoin to go from the same high down to the same low takes roughly 60 days. So we're about 3 times longer. I made this point on a recent video. I think it was just yesterday. So those of you who are subscribed will know about it. Bitcoin takes about 3 times longer to drop than it does to rise up. Now, this case is slightly different, but if we look at this low to our high, you know, we ended up taking about 31 days to rise up, and this actually was a little bit faster to go down to the same low. It was 26 days. But broadly speaking, especially if we look at the first leg, it's pretty clear to see that the initial uptrend is very, very aggressive, and the sell-off happens slowly. This is important to keep in mind, because what it means is that when things get bullish, they get bullish really, really fucking quickly. And I mean really fucking quickly. And they're going to have face melting rallies potentially breaking to the upside. And of course, when we're at a support level like right now, and we've already formed this pattern twice before in this very same market, to me, that's a very, very convincing picture. It's a picture which is very convincing, telling me that the same thing has already happened in this very same market cycle. And we're not just breaking out of these patterns. Just to show you, Bitcoin loves wedges right now, whether they're moving to the downside or they're moving to the upside. Bitcoin loves its wedges right now. You know, one of the key ones that I was warning you guys about, and you can check this out, I'm not bullshitting you right now, you know, like obviously if we go on the videos that I make, the titles and thumbnails, yeah, I mean, they're quite extreme. Look, I'm not denying that. I mean, this is the game you play on YouTube. I'm sorry, the content is free. I've got to do it. But if you look at the actual videos that I was making when Bitcoin was trading up here, I was warning you guys that Bitcoin, see over here previously, Bitcoin formed a very, very bearish pattern, and that Bitcoin was forming exactly the same bearish pattern. Pardon me, that was a bit disgusting. Bitcoin was forming exactly the same bearish pattern again, where it ends up forming a rising wedge pattern at the top of the market. Remember at the beginning of the video I was talking about how markets lose momentum? See, look at this. Bitcoin moves up very quickly, then it moves up a lot slower, indicating that we're losing that momentum, and then eventually we snap down to the downside. We did the same thing right here. We were moving up very quickly, then we were moving up a lot slower. I was showing you this exact demonstration with the same damn lines. Just go back and check out the videos I was making around October and November. You know, I was warning about the very, very same stuff right here, where obviously we could be looking at ripping back down, because Bitcoin loves wedges like this. It loves it when it forms them in rising wedge fashions, or when it forms them in falling wedge fashions. We've just done it so many times in this market, where, you know, the falling wedges are broken to the upside, the rising wedges are broken to the downside. Rising wedges, by the way, oftentimes for Bitcoin are also quite bullish, but you know, we do see just in this particular market structure that they are tending to break to the downside, right? Here's another one right here where we end up forming a rising wedge, and bam, we break down. And then here's another one right here where we form a falling wedge, and bam, we break up. it's very obvious. It's very, very obvious. And Bitcoin's like, what makes you think that this one is different? Because to me, nothing does. To me, nothing indicates that this is different. So I fully think that Bitcoin can at least go to the top of this range before potentially dropping back down again. But much more than that, that obviously, I mean, a breakout should be due. Like, I mean, we've been in this pattern for a long bloody time right now. And a lot of the time, I mean, you know, these breakouts are pretty damn quick. You know, the last one took 19 days. Bitcoin pumped up by 52%. If we do the same thing in 19 days and pump up by 52% again, that puts us in the low $60,000 range. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not here to pump you up and excite you over nothing. I'm just laying out the facts. That's all I'm doing. If this excites you, bad. Honestly, I was going to say good, but that's a bad thing. If it makes you sad, that's also bad. Because as a trader, you should be able to, the men, I don't know about the women obviously, but as men, you know, if you are a trader and you're a man, you should be able to check, just fucking grab down there, check if you still got a pair of balls, and if the answer is yes, push those emotions to the fucking side. This is not the place where you bask in your emotions and you get happy if something's going to go up or sad if something's going to go down. Man the fuck up and understand that in trading, there's no space for emotions. Really, really important stuff. And I'm sorry, guys, I don't like to say this stuff so harshly, right? I mean, it's part of the channel, you know, it makes the personality. Obviously, I'm not like this in person, but the key thing is no one else is going to tell this to you right now. You know, everyone else is in a loss right now because they're also making irresponsible financial decisions, and you'll just pat each other on the back and be like, oh, it's all right, everything's going to be okay. Yes, you're down 50%. I'm also down 80% because I have irresponsible financial principles and so on, and it's okay. We're all in this together and we're never going to sell, right? And this kind of sentiment is it's a victim mentality, you know, like this is where like you either put up and you learn and you improve yourself as a trader and an investor, or quit, right? Only one of those two things are going to happen, and God forbid you quit now in a loss. I mean, what was it all for? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where either you start to really toughen up, you start to study the books that you know you're meant to study, you start to live by the principles that you know you were supposed to be living by as a trader, or get the fuck out, because you're just going to keep on losing money. It's not going to work out for you. If Bitcoin pumps up, I promise you're still going to lose money because you ain't got it right over here. And this is going to make you make a lot of really, really bad decisions. Of course, this is the main thing that I'm putting forward inside of the VIP group. So if you want to get access to it, you can do so by following these steps on screen. But you don't need to. In the description, you're going to see more books that I've read in these markets. Some of my favorite books. The main one is Market Wizards, which is now, I mean, right now is a great time to have that book and being inside of the group at the same time. I mean, what a killer combination to really turn things around. One thing I want to remind you guys about right now is that in bull markets, bulls make money. In bear markets, bears make money. And in any market, it's the pigs that get slaughtered. It's the people that just can't put up when the going gets tough. And obviously, I'm hoping that that's not you guys. So, this is what I'm trying to get at right now, is that, this market is really slapping everybody in the face right now. And I mean, you've got to toughen up, or you've got to drop out. That's really what it comes down to. I'm the only one that will say this to you guys, because guess why? It's because as a YouTuber, if you tell anybody anything else, you make profit. As a YouTuber, if I look you in the face right now and tell you that if you are feeling any level of emotion right now, you should just pack up your shit and leave, I don't make money off you anymore. I don't get to refer you to stuff. I don't get to refer you to Bybit. You're not going to buy my VIP stuff. You're not going to use any of my affiliate links, and it doesn't matter, pardon me, because I'm trying to cement a reputation as somebody here who just tells it to you straight. And I've been there, and I've taken my breaks when I needed to, and I've come back recharged, re-energized with the right principles. Maybe that's what you need. Just telling it to you straight. Hopefully that's not the case. Look at Bitcoin just dropping down again. I'll bring us back on the chart in just a second. Hopefully that's not the case. A lot of people can sit through this stuff and just learn from it. I'm very optimistic. Obviously, I was one of those people as well. But bottom line, ladies and gents, you need to be able to separate your emotions in this market from what's actually going on. Until you can do that, you're going to keep on making irrational decisions. You're going to be part of the bottom 90%, and that's not where we want to be. Just telling it to you real. If you appreciate that, guys, do me a favor, smash up the likes and subscribe. I just want to make a quick note on all of the foul language I use. Again, like I said, I mean, it's not me. It's just, this is the channel. This is a YouTube channel. There's got to be a little bit of theatrics to it. I'm just telling this to you because you're part of the 28-minute club, so you've obviously made it to the end of the video. you know, this is, you got to put on a bit of a show for YouTube. I mean, there's a reason that everyone else is doing these massive orgasm faces, you know, for their thumbnails, right? It's just got to happen because you're playing the game of YouTube, and when the content is free and people aren't paying for it, they're just going to be jumping to the biggest, you know, the biggest thing that catches their attention. So that's what we got to do as well here. But yeah, just want to clear that up and make you guys aware that I'm aware of these things. It's just also I'm playing the game. Just take a look at this, by the way. Bitcoin, yeah, just really getting quite comfortable with those lows at the moment, teasing them, really looking like it wants to break down. Just, yeah, right there at the bottom of this support level that I had drawn for Bitcoin. Why is there a support box here? And this support box must have been moved by accident, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it for now. But yeah, I think if we're able to find support here, we could be looking at a nice short-term break to the upside. If not, then yeah, I don't think we'd be sweeping the low too much, because yeah, I mean, support comes in pretty quickly, and so I'd expect that we end up, you know, potentially just forming a pattern that looks something, you know, a lot more like this, what we did over here. You know, which I showed you guys earlier on in the video. Perhaps not for this long. This was quite a long-term pattern, but just again, just trying to, you know, show you what the markets realistically do. You know, I mean, they don't move in straight lines, and we didn't move in straight lines on these shorter time frames as well. So just wanted to, you know, make you guys aware of that. So there you go, guys. Really a time to think and reflect on what you really are doing here. You know, hopefully you're starting to realize that you're not actually a very special trader, and you're not actually a very special investor, and that is step number one. And really, you know, one of my favorite things, what I tell, you know, for example, yearly members and VIP, they can have phone calls with me like whenever they want. You just ask for it, and it's in my calendar usually the very next day, weekends or weekdays. Obviously, I work every single day, no days off. I'm not part of that gang. And you know, one of the key things that I love telling VIP members when they come to me and they've got a particular problem, because obviously everyone's got some sort of problem with their trading, is you know, most problems that most people have as traders can be fixed overnight, just like that, right? I'm not saying you're going to be an overnight success, but what I am saying is that most people's problems as traders can be fixed overnight. And the reason for that is they just need one little shift in their mindset. They just need one little thing to click, and then they got it, and they've got it locked. And to me, that is what makes it so powerful and exciting, that you can turn this stuff around. And I'm speaking from experience, because when I went from a bad trader to 𝗬𝗎, the guy that, you know, is spoken internationally at all these cool places and has had the privilege to teach a lot of people cool stuff at, by the way, such a cool young age, the guy that turned into 𝗬𝗎 was the guy that decided, all right, it's time to cut the shit and do exactly everything that I know I'm supposed to do without exceptions, trading as close to a robot as I can, you know, following the exact same principles I know I should be following, and just doing them from the very beginning without any BS. And no surprises, that is where everything started to fall into place. Again, if you want to be able to see how I'm laying this all out for you, the way I've learned it, and how I'm implementing those very same things, 𝗬𝗎's VIP is available to you all right now at a heavily discounted rate against the dollar because of this Bitcoin drop. So reach out by following the first link in the description down below, clicking on the @𝗬𝗎's button at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗬𝗎's Gold, and then send message to ask me how to join. Of course, like I said, if this drop is hurting and you wouldn't mind a little bit of extra free cash right now, when you sign up to Bybit using my link in the description, you're going to get up to $4,100 completely free of charge just by signing up to Bybit and making your first deposit. You can buy anything you like with it. Any profits you make, you get to keep. At a time like this, to get an extra 4K in your account would be very, very nice, I'm sure. So take advantage of it while you can, because this is a time-limited offer. Pardon me again, and they are going to be ending it very, very shortly. So do take advantage of it while you can. Huge video here. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, do me a favor, smash up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell. If you don't want to join VIP, but you still want more content from me, then click on the first link in the description down below. And that's still going to take you to our free Telegram channel, where I believe we've just tipped over 21,000. Yes, we have. We've just tipped over 21,000 members inside of our free channel, where you're getting even more analysis from me, even more insights in the market. You're even getting exclusive videos from time to time for free inside of 𝗬𝗎's Gold. And so if you want to be able to gain access to that, then bam, it's right there in the first link in the description down below. And then at the bottom of any post, should you choose to reach out and just get the information on what's going on inside of VIP, how much it costs, everything that you're getting, then again, just click on the @4slice button right there. Really hope you have enjoyed this video. You know what to do, and I'll see you all in the very next one right again tomorrow, where I'm going to be talking about altcoins, followed by Bitcoin, and maybe even a live stream. All right, guys, take it easy. Bye-bye.